begin.
Welcome to the WiseTake DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined here by Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. That's REF. And of course, we are joined by DTECHNATION, aka Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie DDDDDDD. That's 8 D's. Gentlemen, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. I played a little bit on Saturday in the morning slate. Didn't win anything, but today I played the main slate. Killed it in cash and placed in a couple tournaments. So overall, pretty good Sunday.
Awesome. What about you, Paulie?
Anything but today.
I played the main slate. I had a good day yesterday on Saturday. Was off the Yankees today, so didn't do well today. Looking forward to tomorrow. I really like tomorrow's slate a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely the theme of the weekend was pretty much play the Yankees and win money, fade the Yankees and lose money. It was kind of like, I think that was like the weekend message, right?
Yeah, they went off.
Oh, yeah, man.
Fun being a fan.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's definitely a good time to be a Yankee fan. It's a good time to be a DFS player as a Yankee fan, but it's not a good time if you're trying to be contrarian through bats. It's not a good time for that. Like, this was obviously the slate where there were two options of chalk to go. It was the chalk option at pitcher, which was Chris Archer, and it was the chalk option at hitters, which was obviously the Cubs, but more so the Yankees. And obviously the Yankees were the ones you had to have, and if you played Chris Archer, he limited the amount of Yankees you were able to afford. So you probably didn't do all that well if you chose Archer over the Yankees, right?
Yep.
Definitely.
All right. You did make a great point, Paulie. You said that you like this slate coming up. I do too, man. We got 9 games. We can get a little different here. So I'm definitely with you. You guys ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First off, we got Kyle Freeland, the lefty from the Colorado Rockies, visiting Jameson Taillon of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Go ahead, Joe. Start us off.
Yeah, I kind of like I like Kyle Freeland tomorrow as a GPP option, either as a SP2 on DraftKings or definitely on FanDuel. It could be a very decent GPP option. Reason why is Pirates are at the bottom of Awoba against lefties, and Freeland pitches better as all the Rockies do away from Coors. So, yeah, I like that. And on the other side, I like the Rockies bats. They're hot right now, so I'm always going to be looking at them. I think people, when they're away from Colorado, don't like to look at them. And Taillon is coming off of, I believe, having cancer. So he's coming back after 5 weeks, which is amazing. And so who knows how strong he's going to be. So, yeah, that's why I'm looking at this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. What about you, Paulie? What you got?
I'm cool with Freeland as an SP2 on DK. I don't think I'd go there on FanDuel. And I do have some interest in Taillon. The guy is a good pitcher. I don't know what his current status is, but he's got enough good history, and he's got a very high ground ball rate in a big park. Colorado only has like one real lefty that I'm worried about. So I'm interested in Taillon to differentiate on the FanDuel side. In terms of bats, some of the Pittsburgh Pirates have a couple of righty mashers like Harrison and Freeze, and McCutchen's been heating up, but I probably won't go anywhere in this game for bats, and maybe just a little bit of Taillon interest.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think the Pirates offense, like, regardless, they got like no power on this team, especially in this ballpark. So I can understand it. I don't really have much to add. I mean, I'm just not interested in the game overall. But yeah, on DK as an SP2, I think both these guys make decent cases for sure.
One thing I will say is salary relief for cash games. Jody Mercer probably will be batting leadoff. He always does against lefties, and he's playing shortstop. So that's where I like to pay down on cash games. So Jody Mercer is somebody I'll be looking at.
Oh, yeah, if he ends up leading off for sure. That's a great call. All right, we got Michael Fultonevich of the Atlanta Braves visiting Steven Strasburg of the Washington Nationals. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well, you got Strasburg, and he is the cash game pitcher for me tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. He's pitching up against the Braves team. He's the biggest favorite on the slate at a minus 228. It's an 8 over under. And he's also going against Fultonavich, who has been really sneaky good lately. And people might try and stack bats. I don't know how I feel about him. It's definitely, he's gone 43 and 55 in his last two starts. One was against Philly and one was at Cincinnati. So he's been pitching better as of late. So I don't know too sure about the Nats tomorrow. But I don't know if I'm going to play Fultonavich either. But I do like Strasburg definitely in cash.
Yeah, for sure. Paulie, what you got to add?
Yeah, I second Strasburg in cash. He's definitely going to be very chalky. We've just seen, high-end pitchers getting chalkier and chalkier on most of these slates. So in tournaments, I'm going to most likely fade him. Fultonavich could be interesting if, like, the ump and Vegas, all those things line up. I could give it a shot if the Nationals put out a little bit of a weaker lineup. They've been a little bit cold lately, so I could have a little bit of interest, but I think there's just probably better spots on the slate. And in terms of hitting, I agree. I'm not really interested in the Nats, and I'm not going to take any Braves against Strasburg.
I don't like Fulte at all. I think at some point here, he's going to go back to being Fulte, and Fulte on the road. Now, I would expect his home numbers to eventually adjust, but because of the park he plays in, he gets a park upgrade here. But his road numbers over the last 2 years, he's got a 353 WOBA, a 360 WOBA to lefties, and a 347 to righties. His hard contact rate to lefties is up. Let's just say it's up. And I have a little bit of interest in the Nationals. I know they've been cold. You're absolutely right. They just got swept by Texas. And they just lost today, a game that Scherzer pitched and got double-digit strikeouts. So I think this team is going to come out swinging. Now, Trey Turner, believe it or not, I really like Trey Turner. The reason I like him is because he's so expensive. I don't think too many people, because of all the pitching we have, I don't think too many people are going to actually pay up for him. And he's actually got reverse splits. He's got a way higher ISO against righties than he does lefties. He's the only National to have a successful stolen base against Fultonavich. So I have a little bit of interest here. I think Murphy's interesting as a lefty. I think Wieters is interesting. Depending now, if Zimmerman's out and Murphy bats higher up in the order, and then we have Wieters like right behind him, or maybe even 6 or so, I'll definitely be into that little mini stack there with those 3 guys. I mean, Harper is nice. Obviously Harper is nice. It's a salary thing. He's expensive, but I have a little bit of more interest in the best. Obviously Strasburg. I mean, yeah, he's your cash game guy. You don't want to look elsewhere. But I think for pitching, man, lately the trend has been to kind of find that other pitcher that nobody's on and just pay up for the bats. That's kind of been the trend that's working lately. So as much as I do like Strauss, especially in cash, but even in GPPs, I still like Strauss. I'm gonna have my eyes peeled, man. I'm gonna be looking at the WiseTake model, just waiting for these lineups to pop in, and just try to find the cheapest guy I can find, the best matchup, man. But yeah, I think I like the Nats. It's gonna be hot, man. 90 degrees over there, and I know it's a big park, but it's gonna be 90 degrees. It's gonna be hot.
Yeah, that's true. And to that point, if Zimmer's out, Adam Lind is a good cheap lefty bat you could throw in there. He's good against righties.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got John Lackey of the Chicago Cubs visiting Jacob deGrom of my New York Mets. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, this is deGrom is under 10K, and he's going to be going against a team that I just like. They're cold too, and they have not been playing well lately. He hasn't been pitching well lately, so he's a very good GPP option. He does have the upside to get you 50 to 60 points. So I definitely like deGrom and GPPs tomorrow. I'm not sure. Maybe Paulie will could figure this out better. I'm not sure how much the public's going to be on him too, because people see the Cubs and they think, well, they have all these bats. But the Cubs haven't been playing well lately, so I think deGrom is a good option. And Lackey is just the ultimate. You just never know what you're going to get. And so the lefty bats, I like, Conforto, Bruce, and, Granderson and Walker are always good to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Paulie, what you got for us here?
I agree mostly. DeGrom's ownership, I think will probably be about 10% in tournaments. There's definitely going to be guys that play him just because of the upside, but he has been getting hit a little bit lately, and there's two other high end options that you can take over him. So I don't think he'll have that much popularity, and with the Cubs factor, I don't think he'll get too high. I think he's a good tournament option. He definitely has the K upside. The Cubs, when they're not hitting, they do strike out a lot, and his price is decent. He's under 10K. You don't get that too often. So I have some interest in DeGrom for sure. I don't like that it's hot and the wind's blowing out, but the Cubs, they really haven't been hitting too well lately. Give or take, Chris Bryant's been hot, but otherwise, they've been a little cold. They've got some injuries. The shortstop's having some legal issues. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup. So I'm definitely going to have a little bit of DeGrom, and that's probably about all the interest. And maybe Yoenis Cespedes one off, because that guy can go off at any time. And, I don't think Blackie's really going to overpower him. But other than that, no other bats.
Yo, I'm so glad Yoenis Cespedes is back. You guys made a great point with DeGrom. As of right now, obviously him and Strasburg are far and above the top options. Now, DeGrom, it's interesting. I think that I would imagine that people are going to just prefer to play Strasburg, but I don't know. I want to agree with you that he's not going to be popular, that people are just going to get off. The problem is they dropped his price below double digits on FanDuel. So on FanDuel, he's 9.7 now.
Yeah.
So people might say, hey, you know what? I think he's still got it in him, and just decide to just skip Darvish and Strauss and go all the way down to him. That's the only thing that concerns me. If DeGrom is under owned, I certainly love DeGrom because he's at home. We always talk about how you want to play DeGrom at home. And you're right. This Cubs lineup, man, listen, I understand the wind's blowing out. I understand it's warm. But, remember, they just got done playing 2 games in a row in Chicago with, ridiculous 90-degree weather and the wind blowing out 20, 30 miles an hour. And they weren't really able to impress anybody with it. You know what I'm saying? They did okay, but it wasn't impressive. They weren't doing what everybody was hoping they were going to do. So, yeah, I'm with you guys, man. I think DeGrom could be sneaky. I'm a little concerned, though. Are people going to take him as a shortcut? Because he's the end of the tier, right? That elite price tier. He's the end of the tier. After him, it's all everybody else is way down. So, it's going to be tough. But if everybody's going to run to Strauss, I don't know, man. I think DeGrom's in a great spot. He's not going to keep doing it. He's got a 14% swing and strike rate this year. He's not going to keep getting bombed. And, you guys are the ones who said it. The Cubs have not been doing anything offensively. They faced bad pitchers and have been able to do nothing. And now they're going to go against one of the best. Did you read that in the chat? DeGrom is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
It's true.
Lately, it's been that way, unfortunately. Yeah, and on the bats, I'm with you guys. I don't mind playing some of these Mets, but with a 4.3 projected run total, there's just so many better spots. But yeah, you want to assess what is one off? I'm with it, brother. Him and Conforto and Bruce. One off with any one of those guys, I think, and even Neil Walker, like you said, Joe, because he has been heating up, man. But yeah, I don't know. We'll go back and talk about a recap. But as of right now, it's tough not to like DeGrom, especially on FanDuel at 9.7. All right, we got Jared Eichhoff of the Philadelphia Phillies visiting Rick Porcello of the Boston Red Sox. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well, Porcello is the second highest favorite on the slate, so people are going to like him. I never seem to roster Porcello. I just don't. I don't know. He's like vanilla ice cream. Does anybody ever get vanilla ice cream?
Oh, I love vanilla ice cream, but I don't like Porcello.
What's his price? What's his price on FanDuel?
Let's see.
On FanDuel, he is 8.8.
He's 8.8.
8.8.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He's not.
900 away from DeGrom.
Yeah, so to me, and then the Red Sox bats, you think Eichhoff, because he's garbage, so you think the Red Sox bats have been great, but they're one of the same teams that just have not been hitting well that much lately, and you want to stack them because they have the firepower to put up, some good points with Betts and Bogarts. But they just don't seem to be doing it lately. So it's kind of it's just, I don't know. It gives me reason to pause, at least for right now. And on the other side, the Phillies, I guess they'd be, definitely nobody would own them. But Porcello does have blow up potential. So look at the Phillies.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Paulie.
All right. I'm a Yankees fan. I really dislike Boston, but I play them a lot in DFS because they are good. But this year they've been killing me. And tomorrow's like D-Day. I'm gonna play them again, and if they fail me, I'm off them for a long time. They got a 6.3 implied run total, highest on the slate. Eichhoff has been getting hit by lefties all year and really hasn't been a threat. The wind is blowing out. It's 85 degrees. I mean, if there's not a better spot for them, I don't know what it would be. So I'm going to load up on Boston one last time, mostly lefties, but I'll have bets in there as well and see what happens. On the Philly side, Adabel Herrera is one of the hottest players in the league right now, so you could do a one-off with him. Otherwise, I really don't have that much interest. Porcello's last game, he actually had a rough first inning. He got tagged for like 3 or 4 runs, and then he settled in and pitched pretty well the rest of the way. This guy was the Cy Young last year. I do expect his numbers to, progress. And this is a pretty decent spot. The Philly, didn't do much all weekend, and they're traveling right now to Boston. I could see Porcello as an SP2 on DK. Definitely not, much interest on FanDuel, and heavy interest in the Boston Bats.
Yeah, man. Obviously, the Boston Bats are the high. I believe I would hope they're the highest projected team at 6.3. It's a lot of runs, and it's getting warm. The whole Northeast is warm. It's a little heat wave going on. 84 degrees, 51% humidity. We know Eichhoff struggles on the road, and he struggles against lefties. Pretty good against righties, but Boston's got some pretty good righties, and they don't strike out a lot. So I think that I would imagine Boston would be your chalky bats. The issue is like Pedroia is 3.3, so you could still afford to pay up a pitching. Moreland's only 3.5, Benintendi 2.8. I have some interest here, but you got to get different. You can't just play a chalk pitcher and then play the Red Sox. If you're gonna play the Red Sox, you're gonna have to find a new pitcher, and if you're gonna play chalk pitcher, then you're going to have to get funky with the Red Sox, with how you stack the Red Sox. Maybe stack the bottom of the order. I don't know. I know Eichhoff is actually pretty good against righties. I'm not saying not to take righties against them because these Red Sox are pretty good. I'm just saying he particularly struggles against lefties. As far as Porcello, you know what, man? It's going to depend on what lineup we see. The Phillies have a lineup. They have one lineup that's like literally doesn't belong in Major League Baseball, and then they have another lineup that's like, okay, well, maybe you'll make the 30th team. But like, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to depend on what we see, because we know Porcello can strike him out. We know the Phillies can strike out, but we also know that once in a while there's certain Phillies, Tommy Joseph, Odubel Herrera, who's starting to heat up. Howie Kendrick's playing well. These guys can do it. And Paulie, you mentioned it in the chat when somebody had asked about Porcello earlier. He has a very high hard contact rate. He gets hit hard. So I'm not crazy about Porcello, but that my mind could change once we see the lineups come out. I would imagine, at least on DraftKings, he's going to be fairly chalky, right?
Yeah, I mean, second highest favorite on the slate, decent price tag. Maybe 20%ish.
Right, and if he's going to be chalk with Darvish, Strasburg, and DeGrom on the slate, then I want no part of him. But like I said, let's just wait and see. I've had a lot of success with this model. You guys obviously have access to it now, where we can check and see what the lineup is, what their 2017 strikeout percentages, their WOBA is, their ISO as a lineup. So we have that advantage. So we'll take a look. So we're not ruling Porcello out. I think we're all in agreement that we don't necessarily trust him as of right now, but we're not going to rule him out. And if he's chalk, we're going to fade him. I think that's safe to say. If tomorrow we get the vibe that he's chalk, we're not playing him. And we know that the Boston Red Sox bats are, for good reason, probably going to be one of the chalkier options. Right? Can we agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with the bottom of the order stack for Boston. Differentiate. Benintendi batted fifth yesterday or today. And you can get a decent lefty stack towards the bottom with Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., Sandy Leon, Mitch Moreland. That might be the better way to go, because that's where Eichhoff struggles against lefties.
Yeah, he's got drastic righty-lefty splits. Well, just to give an example, on the road over the last 2 years, on the road, 251 against righties. That's actually really good. 361 against lefties. That's really bad. So he's been pretty much your Jekyll and Hyde of lefty and righties. But I don't know. I just think like the Phillies are even projected for 4.3 runs. That's not even low enough for me to consider a guy that doesn't have like elite stuff. You know what I'm saying? I will say in his
Yep.
defense, though, his strikeout rate is, not strikeout rate. I'm sorry, his swinging strike rate in his defense. Other than that, anyway, guys, we got more games to talk about here. Let's talk about Yu Darvish of the Texas Rangers visiting Joe Musgrove of the Houston Astros. Go ahead, Joe. Uh-oh. I think I lost you again, Joe. Oh. Uh-oh. Lost the sound feed again. Oh. Uh-oh. I don't think anybody can hear you. Hold on 1 second. Oh. Can't even. Oh, boy. Can you guys hear me at all? In the chat can. The chat can hear me. I don't think so. There's no feed coming through. Oh, man.
Well, I was saying about Miley can be like he goes one good, one bad, one good, one bad, and this is the time he's supposed to be good.
Seems like we finally got you guys back.
Oh,
All right.
but you lost us though. I can't see us. We're not on the screen.
What you
Yeah.
mean?
Unless, oh wait, here we come. Let's see, bada bing.
Bada bing,
What up?
BD.
Boom. There
I'm
it
back.
is. And we're back.
We're back.
All right. Sorry
We're
about that,
back,
you guys.
ladies
You
and
guys in the
gentlemen.
chat hanging out.
You're back.
We
Yep.
are back.
We are
Getting
back.
Doug back.
So at some point, I believe you were talking about the Houston game.
Texas game. Yeah, we were just starting.
Yeah, literally as you
Yes.
were starting, the sound went out again. So I apologize. For some reason, we're having some issues with the sound here. But anyway, we're back up and running. Hopefully, I don't even think it was that long. Maybe it probably was. But anyway, go ahead, Joe. Act like nothing
Okay,
happened.
well, thank God we're so good looking too. So if they can't hear us, they at least did 3 good looking faces. But so Musgrove, he's coming off of the DL. So I don't. I think that you could play Texas bats and Houston. They're a hot team. So Darvish is no. I don't know. He hasn't really been pitching very well. So I'm gonna actually flip it over to Paulie because he's got more of this feel of this game than I do.
All right, what you got, Paulie? Go ahead.
It might be a hot take, but I am all over Houston tomorrow. Vegas is telling me, the run line is telling me that, Darvish is going to get lit up. Darvish is actually the lowest ranked pitcher on my model that I use right now, which is just like blaring, like how can that be? So I'm going to stack up the Astros all up and down. They've been hot. They're at home. The roof's going to be open. It's 84 degrees, 11-mile-per-hour wind blowing out to left field. I'm going to be on Houston. Springer's really hot. He seems locked in. Brian McCann's been really hot, and that's a good splits matchup for even Yuli Gurriel's been hot lately. I mean, this Houston lineup, this whole Houston team is just one of the better teams in baseball, and I'm going to take a stand and stack up against Darvish.
Yeah, that's I don't blame you, man. A 4.3, like you got Yu Darvish, who's supposed to be like an elite tier pitcher. He's an underdog on the road to Joe Musgrove, and it's also in a high total game. So I think it makes a lot of sense, man. I don't blame you at all. Houston's been closing their roof a lot, which is kind of annoying because I know they mentioned they were going to try to keep it open more, and they just haven't been. And I'm seeing here it looks like maybe 25% chance of precipitation. So they might actually close the roof for that, which would suck because when this roof is open, man, that ball really flies. Right now, Houston has actually like been showing up as a pitcher's park. There just hasn't been much action going on down there. With that said, I think it's a great time to attack Darvish, man. I'm with you, man. I think these Houston bats can get it. George Springer has some really good BVP against them. I think he's the only one that has like something decent, but he's got 2 home runs off Darvish already in his career. So I'm with you, man. I think you're onto something with these Houston bats. 4.8 is a pretty strong total. I would imagine that it's not that like I don't think people are going to play Darvish, but I think that people are going to avoid targeting against him.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Houston, they're a 4.8 total, very high, and they're going to go under owned. So they are in a little slump, and I'm seeing here in the chat they're mentioning Houston's in a little slump. They are. They're in a little slump. But we're taking a chance. You're just pretty much taking a chance that they're going to come out of this slump now and against a good pitcher. And like why? Because we see it happen all the time. We see like the Brewers just go nuts under the ground. We see it happen. We saw Arrieta. He got blown up today. He's been getting blown up all year.
I mean, I'm a tournament strictly player, and on the smaller slates, like 7 to 9 games, the success that I've found is when I like take a stand on like half my lineup, a pitcher and 1 stack, and then mix up the rest. And I just think that this is like a low-owned spot where if the chalk doesn't hit tomorrow, which I'm assuming is going to be Strasburg and the Red Sox, so we've seen Boston just bust day in and day out, and the Braves, maybe they can get a little sneaky, find a way to get 4 runs and, keep Strasburg's numbers down. And I like this spot for Houston and their offense. And if it goes off, you'll see me at the top of most of the tournaments I'm in.
There you go. I like it. Now, here's a question. Have you guys considered Joe Musgrove at all?
No.
I have no interest in Joe Musgrove, although not really that interested in Texas bats either. But Musgrove, first start coming off the DL, he can be Jekyll and Hyde-ish. He can get really lit up or have a good start where you're like, wow, this kid's got some talent. But, just there's better spots on the slate. I'm not going to go there.
Okay, for sure. All right, we got Giovanni Gallardo visiting Adalberto Mejia, the lefty from the Minnesota Twins. Go ahead, Joe.
Ooh, boy, yeah, this is a game where you like Dozier, Sano. You can load up the Twins bats. I think they'll be low owned. People won't really be looking at them. And on the other side, you got a lefty going up against Seattle. So obviously Nelson Cruz is in play. Mejia, I'm not looking at. Gallardo, I'm not looking at. And the Mariners as a team stack, I think would be low owned too. So look at that, and the Twins bullpen is terrible. So if they knock out Mejia, it might be, lots of points after that.
Yeah, for sure. Paulie, what you got to add here?
Yeah, I mean, I can get behind both of those. I have more interest in the Minnesota bats, and the obvious Dozier bats, but also Escobar and Rosario are tough lefty bats that could definitely get to Gallardo, who struggles more on the road. And Joe Mauer and the catcher Castro are actually guys I may target. Max Kepler as well. I think this is a good spot for Minnesota. They actually hit pretty well today in San Fran, so maybe they'll carry that hot streak over to this spot against Gallardo. Seattle, sure, I can get behind playing those guys as well. Adalberto Mejia hasn't really impressed me much. I do think there's better spots on the slate, but of course Nelson Cruz versus a lefty, Danny Valencia, and Kyle Seager and Cano have been really hitting the ball well. You don't need to fade the lefties in this matchup. And Mitch Haniger is back. He's probably hitting, either leadoff or second in this lineup now. And he hits lefties pretty well, too. And he's, decent price tag on FanDuel, 3K. It was pretty hot before he got hurt. So if you're going Seattle, include him as well.
Yeah, man, I like both the bats here. I could understand. I know somebody in the chat earlier was asking about Mejia. I understand. I always talk about playing lefties against Seattle. But when Seattle's projected for 4.8 runs and they're only an underdog, I just don't think that's the right spot to do it. So I'm with you guys, man. I'm all in on the bats here. Looks like we could have some weather. I'm seeing 73 degrees, 77% chance of precipitation. So that could get you some low ownership. Just from number one, it's not an attractive game. What people don't realize is the Twins. Like everybody thinks of Minnesota as a big time pitchers park. This season, they're like 27th for pitchers, which means this season there's been a lot of runs at this ballpark. Granted, I'm sure has a lot to do with the fact that the Twins have bad pitching and a bad bullpen, et cetera, et cetera. And it is an American League team, but still, the runs are happening. So you kind of got to follow the trends. I like the bats from both sides. You guys mentioned Nelson Cruz. I think he could be a nice pivot at his price off of your Aaron Judges, et cetera, at his price, and he's in a great spot. I think that tons of people are going to run to play Judge, and maybe, I don't think you're going to be able to play two. You're going to have to pick one of those guys at least. If you manage to be able to afford one, you're going to pick one. You're going to pick Harper, Judge, or Nelson Cruz, and I don't think Nelson Cruz is going to be the most popular, especially when you got you got a game with two teams nobody really likes to play anyway. So I love the bats on both sides of this game. Hopefully tomorrow I'll narrow it down. What scares me with Gallardo is he's a soft contact guy. Like I don't think he's any good by any means, but he's like a soft contact guy, so that kind of stinks. But I'm not really scared of him. Joe, you mentioned two bad bullpens here. I'm with you guys, man. I think the bats here are very sneaky on both sides for sure. All right, here we go. We got Wade Miley, the lefty from the Baltimore Orioles, visiting Mike Pelfrey of the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, this is my game that I'm really like I'm gonna sink my teeth into. This is my double stack of the night for sure. All right, so here's why I like it. Not only Wade Miley, he's a lefty going up against the White Sox, who their team WOBA against lefties is 356. So they lead the league in hitting lefties. So you got Abisail Garcia, you got Abreu, you have Davidson, Frazier. Just to name a few, Melky Cabrera. And what I like about that is if they can hit Miley, they might leave him out there a little bit longer. And if they don't, the Orioles are coming off of a weekend where they were just destroyed by the Yankees. So their bullpen is absolutely just depleted right now. So if they take Miley out, it's advantageous. And if they leave Miley in, they're going to still keep hitting him. So I like the White Sox as a stack, as one-offs in cash can be really good. And on the other side, Mike Pelfrey is just absolutely terrible too. So you have good BVP for Seth Smith against Pelfrey, and you got Adam Jones, Trumbo, Mancini's hot. All those players are in play. Double stack this game. It's great. I really think just the fact about the bullpens and with Miley is what really attracts me the most.
Okay, I like your enthusiasm there, Joe. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the White Sox could be a sneaky team tomorrow. I'm hoping that they remain sneaky. I hope they don't gain too much traction. And, we saw them beat up on Chris Sale about a week ago. They destroy lefties, and their prices are nice. I'm interested in a lot of these guys. Especially Abisail Garcia and Matt Davidson. Matt Davidson, if you're playing Strasburg, he's like the perfect low-priced sort of punt that can hit the ball out of the park. And the White Sox, this is their spot. This is definitely a great spot. Good point on the bullpen being tired. I like the White Sox a lot. And then on the other side, I'm interested in Baltimore. I feel like they're about to turn it around. They're getting healthier. Wellington Castillo just got back. Machado is about to come back. I have a feeling he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. And this team is just better than they've shown offensively. And I think Mike Pelfrey is a good spot for them to get started. So I'm going to have light exposure to the Orioles a lot going forward, but especially tomorrow too. And Chris Davis is in a just excellent spot with his batting profile tomorrow.
Yeah, Chris Davis is in a very, very good spot. If the Orioles have any pride whatsoever as a team, after getting their face smashed in all weekend by the rival New York Yankees, they'll come into Chicago against Mike Pelfrey and they'll tee off. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying if they had any kind of pride, because they got embarrassed over this weekend, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you guys. The bats in this game are just very attractive. High total here. Both sides are interesting. We all know. Everybody saw what the White Sox did to Chris Sale. They hit the ball well against Pomeranz. They didn't do as well, but they hit the ball well against him too. They're a very good team against lefties. They got literally a lot. They got a lot of righties. Obviously Abreu, Garcia, Davidson. You guys mentioned Davidson already. He's in a great spot. I think Tim Anderson has some decent PBB against Miley. I think it's a small sample, but still not bad. So yeah, I mean there's not much else to really say. You got two bad pitchers here. I don't like Miley on the road. I really don't like Miley at all, but especially not on the road against a team that hits lefties well. It's a hitter's ballpark, so I think you guys nailed it, man. It's definitely a place where we're gonna like these bats for sure. Here we go. We got Masahiro Tanaka of the New York Yankees, Paulie D's New York Yankees, visiting Alex Meyer of the Los Angeles Angels. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So let's see here. Tanaka they gave him an extra day rest. So he's on 6 days rest. So you're thinking, hopefully, this is almost like his last chance, I guess. I don't know. It's not really his last chance. He's still going to be pitching. He's going to be in the rotation. But, he's tempting. But, the Angels have been hitting better since Trout has been gone than when he was actually there. So I kind of like, what the Angels tomorrow as a sneaky stack. And, if you really are ballsy and you want to throw Tanaka out there, I also think that he could be a really, really low-owned GPP guy, too. And as for the Yankees, they're still hot. Keep playing them. Keep playing anybody you want. Alex Myers, nobody to be scared of. So, anybody you like of the Yankees, play them.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Paulie.
I mean,
I'm completely on the other side of this. Tanaka, I have no interest in. He's given up 6 or more earned runs in his last 4 out of 5 starts. I think there's something wrong with him. And, the extra day they gave him was probably, because there is something either mechanically wrong or mentally. So I really have no confidence in Tanaka. And the Angels bats have been heating up of late, as Joe mentioned. And I think they could remain hot in this spot. Then on the other side, I have absolutely no interest in the Yankees. I'm going to be completely fading them. I think they're going to be too chalky. They're traveling across the country. They're going to have the jet lag, lose a couple hours. And Alex Meyer, he's interesting to me. I'm considering throwing him maybe like 10, 15% exposure. Guy can strike guys out. When the Yankees are off, they do strike out a lot. And if Meyer has his control, if they got a good ump, it's a big ballpark. I'm gonna have a little bit of Meyer exposure and completely fading the Yankees. I think they're gonna be too chalky, and it's just I don't like playing chalk in tournaments, so I'm totally off them.
Here's what's great, everybody listening out there or watching later on, is that you got two different contrasting styles right now. Paulie's got the GPP mindset. I completely agree with what he's saying of fading the Yanks. It's a great thing. But then my mindset is more of a cash game, more of a safe bet. And, there's going to be higher ownerships on the Yankees. So ownership's not a big deal. And they're going to have some good plays. So I love the fact that we're both on here because we both have just differing sets of mindsets. So everybody can kind of develop their way of playing DFS.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, for cash, they're fine. Gardner, Hicks, I mean, they're the hottest team in baseball, and it's tough to fade them, especially in cash. But in tournaments, if you're playing guys that are 40% owned, you're just running with the pack, and it's very, very hard unless you got the bankroll to roll out 150 different combinations to beat the pros. But if you differentiate yourself and you go against that chalk, tomorrow, a good example, it's going to be Strasburg and Yankees, right? That's going to be just like today, right? You had chalk Archer and chalk Yankees. Archer busted. If the Yankees busted today, it was a wide open tournament. The Yankees didn't, and you have to be willing to lose the playing a contrarian style. But the days that the chalk busts, you stand alone at the top very often.
True. It's
That's my
basically,
take.
you got to understand when you're playing tournaments, you're going to lose probably 9 out of 10 nights, but you're just hoping that night you win, it's enough to cover your year. It's like,
It's true. And
but
that's how it's been. That's how it's
that,
been.
that's how it goes. And that's a great point from Polly. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing with his your qualifier seat. You just you got to take chances. The only way you're going to beat these guys and beat these multiple amounts of people is to take chances. You're not going to do it playing the chalk every time. And when we talk about chalk, we're not necessarily saying you have to fade that specific chalk. We just, again, you want to differentiate yourself somewhere. You want your lineup overall to be contrarian. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sticking back to the Yankee games, I'm probably not playing cash tomorrow, so I'm closer to Paulie's side. I think I'm going to fade the Yankees here. They're on the road, a big park downgrade, flying all the way out west to California after they just played today. Listen, I know it's not as big a deal when East Coast guys go to the West Coast because you're kind of gaining some time, et cetera, et cetera. But I just think that there's so many good spots and there's so many good bats. And the Yankees, like, it's a thing, man. You're in the groove. You're playing in Yankee Stadium. It's a small ballpark. It's hot over the weekend. Not to mention, I mean, like, let's be real. They went against the Baltimore Orioles. They're not really known for their starting pitching. I mean, they went up against Gas Can today. It's like, he's looked a little better. But if you look at his road numbers, you had to know he was going to get blown up today. So it's just like, I'm with you guys. I'm with you, Paulie. I think in cash games, if you can afford these Yankees, then why not take somebody who's hot? Because they're going to be popular, and if they bust, no big deal. But in tournaments, like Paulie said, I think you want to try to veer away. There's other guys, there's better spots on the slate that are going to go overlooked, like the White Sox game and some of the other games we talked about. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think people are going to ride the Yankees, and I get it because I feel like they didn't ride them all weekend, and now it's going to be too late, and they're all going to want to hop on, and it's a different situation. They're on the road. They're in a big ballpark.
And this kid Meyer, last start was against Detroit when they were coming off a couple massive games, and he went into Detroit, went 6 innings, struck out 9 Tigers, and put up a massive day. I mean, this is a young kid. He's got talent. If he's on, he's tough to hit. He can struggle with his control. And the Yankees, if they get a couple guys on, it could turn into a bad inning. But he was on his last start against Detroit, so the kid can handle tough competition, big ballpark, cooler weather. It's just not really an ultimate hitting spot. They only got a 4.5 implied total to the Yankees, so it's a fade for me.
Yeah, I got you. All right, we got Bronson Arroyo of the Cincinnati Reds visiting Luis Perdomo of the San Diego Padres. Take us home, Joe.
Boy, this game is something that could be very sneaky because I think a lot of people won't be looking at it. I know Arroyo's terrible, but the Padres' offense is terrible. My thing is I don't know if the Padres have, like, maybe the ceiling if you stack them to win a GPP against some of the other good offenses that you could be having. Maybe a mini stack of some Padres would be good, but I also looking at the Reds too. Perdomo's nothing special, and if you can get into that Padres bullpen, you can definitely make some hay with Votto, Schebler, maybe Scooter Gennett or Hamilton, Peraza. All those players are good plays. So yeah, this game is it's going to be tough. It's something you should definitely look at more tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Paul, you got anything here?
I have some interest in Perdomo as the Reds continue on their road trip. They can get hot, but Perdomo's a ground ball pitcher. It's a big park. The weather's down. The wind's blowing in. And we've seen Perdomo show up in a couple other spots when he's at home. So I have a little bit of interest in Perdomo. Definitely SP2 on DK for some salary relief if you're pairing him with Strasburg. On the other side, absolutely no interest in Arroyo. And I think, like Joe said, some of these Padres bats could be interesting. I don't know if a full stack is in play, but they've been batting Perella leadoff. He's homered in his last 2 days, and he's had like a 40-point and a 20-point output on FanDuel the last 2 days. So you could ride that hot bat at a discount at second base. And Will Myers and Austin Hedges interest me. Brunson Arroyo gives up the long ball to the righties if you take a look at his stats. So those three guys, I could have some interest, maybe some one-offs here and there. And on the Cincinnati side, like I said, I kind of like Perdomo, so I probably won't be playing too many bats, but I can understand Votto and Schebler, and I think Billy Hamilton would be a decent play if he's in the lineup. I'm not sure, but I don't believe Perdomo has a great move and is not great at holding on runners. So, Billy Hamilton gets on and he steals 2 bags and scores a run. It's just like a home run. So I can understand that as well. But overall, not much interest outside of Perdomo.
Yeah, man. I sort of get Perdomo. I don't really like to attack the Reds. I think on DraftKings maybe it's okay because you're just hoping he gives up, pitches to contact, give some double plays, things like that. Doesn't get hit too bad. But on FanDuel, I don't like targeting pitchers against the Reds. They don't strike out enough, and even when they're not hitting well, they don't typically strike out a ton. So I guess it really depends on the lineup they give out. I could see them putting out a strikeout heavy lineup and then me changing my mind. I could certainly see that. With that said, I also am not crazy about the red spot here. I think you're reaching. You know what it is? I don't think you have to go there, right? Like with the red side. I don't think either of you guys like the Reds as far as the bat. So it's like we just don't have to go there. There's other slates. Like the only way I'm playing the Reds offense on this slate is if I'm playing the late slate. And I have to pick a couple of their guys. But on the other side, Joe, what you said was interesting with a mini stack because you mentioned that you don't know if as a team they have that upside you're looking for, and I agree with you. When you consider the fact that they're playing in this ballpark, the fact that Cincinnati's bullpen it's not the best. I think it's like 15th or like right in the middle, but it's not the worst either. And the fact that the Padres are not very good offensively. Now, Paulie, you mentioned this new leadoff guy. They sent Schimpf down, which I thought was interesting. And now that they have Perella up here, and they have Will Myers, Hunter Renfroe, so there's definitely some interesting plays for sure. I think the Padres could be a little sneaky. I'm not dying to play them. Don't get me wrong. There's so many good spots. I don't think you necessarily have to go there, but they are cheap. Hunter Renfroe 3.2, Perella 2.5. Franchi Cordero 2.4, Corey Spangenberg 2.3, Hedges 2.4. So they have some power and they're pretty cheap. So in a tournament, I could see merit in it. Although, like I said, there's just so many other good. Hey, Paulie, I don't know if you could hear me or not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
There you go. Now you're back. Okay, cool. We lost you for a sec, your video feed, but we got you. Hey, man. So that's pretty much it for the game by game breakdowns itself.
I wanted to ask you a question. You said you weren't playing cash tomorrow.
Right.
Why?
To be honest with you, I have something to do at night, so I think I'm just gonna make one tournament lineup.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable with any one of these pitchers, to be honest. I know it sounds weird because we have Darvish, DeGrom, and Strauss going. I really don't feel comfortable with it. Even Strauss, I don't feel completely safe with Strauss. I really don't. I just think, we've seen situations. I'm not saying I'm not going to play him. I'm just saying, like, I don't feel totally safe to where I want to put, risk more. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I play cash, I end up risking more because I'm playing GPPs and I'm playing the cash. So it's like, I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to play a higher dollar tournament. I'm going to play the qualifier a little bit. Keep chasing that thing down. Eventually, I'm coming close.
Yeah, dude, you've been hot. Keep chasing that
I'm coming close, but yeah, that's the only reason, Joe, is because I can't make up my mind. I can already see it. I'm not gonna be able to make up my mind.
Okay, it's good. No, and that's also good for everybody out there listening. That when you have something to do, and you can't put out a lot of effort, you can't put out a lot of research. That's a good GPP night because it's easier to find teams to target rather than individual players, and you do put more time into your cash game lineup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's a great point. So, real quick, chat, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. While they're coming up with those, I just wanted to know from you guys. Let's talk about some cheap options. Now, Joe, I know that you're looking at this slate. You seem to like this from a cash perspective. I can already tell. You're licking your chops at certain spots here. So is there a cheap GPP pitcher that you would consider, or is it just for you? You're playing cash and you're gonna stick with your guys up top.
Well, there was a question in chat. What's the lowest you would go in a GPP? Obviously, I like what Paulie was saying about Alex Meyer, it makes me look at him a little bit more because you know that nobody will have him. I mean, nobody will have him.
Great point.
And if you look at Meyer's last few games, just his game log, 49, 31, 24, 47, 34. Those are his last 5 starts. So there's no real like blow-ups there. So even his lowest one, 24, that was 3-4x. It's going to allow you to get some big bats in the lineup if you want to go at it that way. My other guy is Freeland. So those would be my 2 GPP guys.
Okay. Paulie, what about you? I know Meyer's obviously one of your favorites.
Yeah, I'm interested in Meyer on the low end, and honestly, this is where the bulk of my ownership is going to be: is Meyer, Perdomo, and Teon. I think all 3 of them are in pitcher parks with decent weather, with the exception of Teon, and will definitely be low owned. And in this type of situation, 9 games, only a tournament player, I'm gonna kind of have a similar lineup build with Houston and a pair, 3 or 4 one-offs or 4-2-2 mini stacks with those 3 pitchers tomorrow. That's the approach I'm gonna take. So either one of those 3, I'm fine with, and I wouldn't go any lower on FanDuel. As one pitcher only.
All right, cool. All right, so let's get to a couple of these questions here, and then we'll play some Dog Watch, and we gotta get out of here. Looks like we're got about 8 minutes left. So let's see. Paulie, we're gonna start with you. Joe, you're gonna comment next. What would you recommend to try to make the Chicago Finals? That's the FanDuel Live Final for MLB. The single entry series or a qualifier?
For me, what I would recommend is, instead of playing the smaller qualifiers, save up your money and play a smaller field, like the $100 300 person or the $300 100 person. I qualified on a $300 entry, and I'm really not excited to throw $300 into one team where you have to win it all or you don't really get paid. I think like 5% gets paid. It's you either win it or you don't, and
yeah.
That's a bit more than I like to spend, especially in that kind of situation. So, it's a little uncomfortable, but that's your best odds of taking one of those down. Trying to beat, the $5, the $12 with 3,000, 6,000 people. It's just really hard unless you're multi-entering. So if you're a one lineup kind of guy, a few lineups, my advice would be to take on the higher dollar qualifiers and then get different. The day I qualified, I had an Oakland stack. All 4 guys were under 2%, and they were the team that really got me the win. I had Kershaw, so I wasn't completely contrarian. It was a day that Kershaw wasn't the most popular. He was like the second most popular. I think McCullers was on the slate, and I had Kershaw at like 30%. He had a great day against St. Louis, and Oakland got into a slugfest with the Marlins, and it's, I was the only guy with those guys, and whatever the chalk was that day didn't hit, and it allowed me to get to the top. And it wasn't even like a great score. It was like a 215 or so. Most nights that's not enough to win a qualifier, but with the smaller field, higher dollar, and chalk not going off, it just all kind of lined up.
Yeah, so basically, and the question was from Mr. DFS Syracuse. How's it going, Cuse? Yeah, basically, Paulie is saying that he would recommend you stick with the qualifier. What he was referring to is the single entry series is Roto Grinders thing. Well, if you win a certain amount at the end of the competition, then you get in. He was asking, should he do those or just qualifiers? So Paulie does qualifier. Paulie made it with a qualifier. Do the qualifier, and what Paulie's point is, don't just do a qualifier. Do a qualifier that's a little more high dollar, that has less people in it. As far as overall, there's another question I'm going to parlay into this, and we can touch on it briefly. Qualifier strategy in general. What Paulie said, he hit it right in the head. You're not trying to get second place. You're not trying to min cash. That means nothing to you. A very small portion of the field actually even min cash in these qualifiers. You need to take chances. The days that I've come close, it's been when I faded the chalky pitcher up top and I played the ugly guy at the bottom. When I played Joe Ross the other day, when I played CC Sabathia the other day, those are the ugly plays that Paulie's talking about. He played Oakland. He made it on a qualifier on Oakland. That was not comfortable to put a $300 lineup with Oakland, I'm sure. Joe, anything to add on the qualifiers?
Yeah, I mean the qualifiers, you have to really get off the grid. And you have to try and stack, maybe against the biggest, the chalkiest pitcher of the night because everybody's going to have him. But, another thing I've been told this is that, if you want to play qualifiers, you shouldn't play it. You should almost have a separate bankroll for it, first of all.
Yeah.
And secondly, you shouldn't always play it every single night. You should try and research each certain slate and see what you have a good feel for it. You might be on a team that you don't feel anybody else is on. Like tomorrow, I don't know, I just look at it. You look at everybody's going to be on the Red Sox. People are going to be on the Yankees. Like a team like the White Sox are going to go are going to go overlooked a little bit. But then it's the team like, if the Braves, crush Strasburg for some reason, that's the team that's going to win it. So it's basically you've got to get off the grid. And you gotta, don't be thinking chalk at all.
Yeah, that's it. Especially with these top-heavy tournaments, man, it's all or nothing. You need to get to the top. If you're playing to min cash, go play cash games. You're not. You shouldn't. You don't belong in tournaments. You got to do things you're uncomfortable with. One more.
Hey, CK. Yeah. To the point about the single entry, that also has a live final at the same time in Chicago, and that's a good point. I mean, I've been throwing a lineup in it every night. Every week there's I think it's the first or top 5 that qualify each week. Right now they're on the $25 series, and tomorrow it's going to change. I'm not sure what it will be tomorrow. 10. So again, that's affordable, and it's a single entry, so it's a decent tournament to be in because it's part of the series. They're a little bit deeper tournaments. Like instead of being like 800 people, it might be 2,000, but that makes the prize pools better. It's still single entry. I'm going to play them every night, and I think, that's a cheap, economical way to get yourself to a live final. And, you really just need to get hot for like a day or two, finish, have 2 deep cashes, and you'll be at the top of that because they take your top 4 scores from the week, not every night. So I'd keep shooting at those for sure.
Yeah, man. I think that's a great point, Paulie. So we're running out of time here. There's a couple more questions. We're not going to be able to get to them. We'll answer them in the chat for you guys, though. Let's play some Dong Watch. We got to wrap this up. Paulie, we're going to give you the first pick here, brother, okay?
Got it, man. I'm going with Springer off of Yu Darvish to lead off the game.
Oh, I like it. All right, Joe, what you got here?
I am picking Jose Abreu.
Good one. All right, I'm going to stick with this Minnesota Twins game here. Give me Nelson Cruz as my first pick, and then on the other side, give me Max Kepler as my second. Back to you, Joe.
Why don't we roll with the Judge, Aaron Judge?
There you go. I like that. I'm getting called out for being a homer so bad right now. So anyway, go ahead, Paulie.
I got 2 picks.
You get 2
picks. All right, I'm going to stick in the same game, going to Joe's double stack and taking 2 guys from Chicago, Matt Davidson, the first baseman we mentioned earlier, and Avisel Garcia. Those 2 guys are going to dong tomorrow.
All right, I like it. All right, Joe, you got it.
Chris Davis from the other side, the Orioles.
Oh, from Baltimore. Oh, yeah. All right. All right, I'm with it. Give me some Todd Frazier. Nobody picked him, right? He got skipped right over, right?
White Sox. Got 4 White Sox.
All right, so I guess we do like it. And by the way, Robert Kahn in the chat. I'm not crazy about the Mets bats tomorrow. I'm just gonna throw that out there. He's getting on me for being a Mets.
Gonna pick the Met.
Hey guys, I appreciate you guys coming on the live show, man. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's always fun with everybody out there watching and asking questions. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Same second and third that, it's cool having the live feed coming at us, and hopefully we help some guys win some money tomorrow.
Yeah, hey, listen, guys, we got a lot of awesome stuff coming up. This is blowing up to be way more than a podcast. We're going to have a whole full-fledged DFS community. It's coming soon. Appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. Sorry about the technical difficulties. If you're listening on the audio version, I'm going to edit that out, so you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But if you watch the video stream, you know we had some technical difficulties, and appreciate your patience. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that like button. It means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel. Tell others about it. Spread the word. If you're listening on Podbean, the audio-only version, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, subscribe to the channel. Leave us some positive feedback. Bump us up those charts. Anyway, guys, if you have any other questions, feel free to contact Paulie, a.k.a. DTECHNATION. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie, followed by 4 Ds, the letter D 4 times. And then, of course, 8 Ds. I'm sorry, 8 D. I always say 4. I always cut it in half. It's Paulie 8 Ds. I don't know why I always cut it in half. And of course, if you want to talk to Patio Joe, you can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. That's REF. Anyway, guys, for Joe, for Paulie, and for myself, as always, good luck.
Peace.